I thought I'd take a minute this morning to go over audio interfacing for WinLink and FL Digi. I've done several presentations. I did this for the Birmingham Hamfest a couple of years ago, and I thought it may be fitting to put this in an audio format. WinLink and FL Digi, valuable messaging tools when your infrastructure is down, no cell phones, no internet. So they're becoming very, very important in the world of ARES and emergency communications. Messages for these two programs can be formatted in a variety of ways: fillable forms, the standard ICS forms, Red Cross, radiograms. WinLink is a standard email program that can also be used to send messages to cell phones and standard internet email addresses once you've reached a common message server via either VHF or UHF and HF. So it's very important to be able to send email traffic even if you have no internet available. And of course, HF can reach beyond your localized area. If you're having an outage or some kind of weather event, it can reach hundreds of miles to get you to a point where you can send your email traffic. FL Digi, on the other hand, is a multi-mode messaging service where it's basically a keyboard-to-keyboard service, and you can send a variety of messages, including pictures, and still using the same hardware, software interfaces through your local packet repeater. And in Birmingham, of course, one of the packet repeaters is Ruffner Mountain KK4BSK-10. In the Huntsville area, we have two N4WGY-10 or N4HSV-10. We also picked up N4 KY4G-10, all on 145.090. The nice thing about this, using these, is you can get a hard copy of your messages to your served agencies, and that way you've got something tangible for them to take with them. FL Digi is a multi-mode software application of many modes that it will facilitate, and it uses audio recording for tonal encoding for those many modes. And of course, WinLink, UHF, VHF, and HF needs a software or hardware terminal node controller for the encoding. WinLink HF has its own built-in. Now you can get those programs at the link shown. It's basically https://sourceforge.net projects FL Digi, and of course winlink.org. Now here's the important thing to be aware of. All digital mode applications require the same essential elements to function with your radio. They need audio from the application or the computer to go to the microphone input on your radio, and audio from the radio needs to go back to the microphone input on your computer, and we'll show you a variety of ways to do that. I've used this chart very often, and it kind of explains the way things are set up. FL Digi and WinLink have an application, and they create data into a format that can be recognized by your computer hardware level, but they need a software TNC application to do that. FL Digi mode or WinLink encoding is a result of that application. It sends that coded audio to your computer's hardware interface, and that's generally a USB audio or standard audio coming out of the headphone and microphone jacks on your computer. Also, you need some way to key your radio, and we generally do that with a USB to serial adapter or a signal link or some kind of purchased keying device. And in this case, we're going to show you how to make one quite simply for a few bucks that will accomplish that PTT operation also. So this particular slide shows the basics that you'll need to create your own interface. If you want to create your own keying device, you need a female DB9 connector, and that plugs into a USB to serial adapter, which plugs into the USB port of your computer. As it takes the PTT information from your software application and keys a 2N2222 transistor. That transistor turns on, pulls the radio PTT line down, and it keys your radio. Also in this particular picture is a external USB audio adapter, which you can buy for your computer that runs off USB in case you don't have ports for headphones and microphone. And they're relatively cheap. You can buy the resistors in bulk, get them about 20 cents or less each. Same thing with the computer, or with the transistor, 20 cents or less. A USB to audio adapter, $9, $7 for the connector for DB9 serial, and USB serial connector is about 12 bucks. So the audio input to your radio may be through the mic connector. Take the mic connector and take the microphone off, plug something into that mic connector, and use that audio input. Or on newer Yaesus and Kenwood radios, I believe they have a data port 6-pin DIN connector in the back. Wiring diagrams for those connectors are generally located in the instructions for your radio, particular radio you're using. The input connector on some of the radios are an RJ45 Ethernet connector, and the same thing with the wiring. You can get the wiring schematic for the Ethernet connector from your radio's manual. Audio from the output from the radio usually goes through external speakers jack or data port, and the external speaker jack is usually an 1/8" mono plug. So all of that information should be available within your operating manual for your particular radio. I've shown the basic diagram here for the 6-pin DIN connector that's available on Yaesu and Kenwood radios. And if you look, I've also set up there ground would be pin 5 on your serial adapter, and the PTT would be pin 4 on your adapter. And that's the wiring diagram for that particular data connector. Use a 6-foot DIN connector, DIN cable available from Amazon. You get that way you get 2 of them for about $7. Same thing with Ethernet cable, $5 for an Ethernet cable, or you may have one lying around. Cut it in half, you get 2 connections. And there you also see a standard ICOM Ethernet microphone connection, and the pin adapters for the serial DB9 serial connector. Again, I've used this diagram before, but it is the standard connectivity for an audio interface from your radio to your computer and vice versa. So you've got from the radio audio output goes to the mic input on the computer. From the speaker output on your radio goes to the audio in or mic connector on your computer. And then you need a DB9 keying adapter or a USB to serial adapter, and some way to push PTT on your radio from the computer. This particular screen is showing the basic setup within FL Digi that would accomplish using an external DB9 connection to key your radio. And this particular slide shows the interfacing screen from sound modem that you would use to connect your radio audio settings within sound modem. One of the interesting things with FL Digi is the messages are audible tones, and they can be transported easily across a network from carrier base and internet. And in order to receive a message, all you really need is a computer with the FL Digi software and a UHF VHF receiver that can hear the tones from the repeater, a microphone to record those tones and make them available to the computer software. So a handheld transceiver can also be used with an Android-based smartphone, and it'll work with FL Digi with the Android app. And tones will also traverse the internet via linked repeaters, All-Star, D-Star, IRLP, and Echolink. And remember, there's just make sure you have no equalization in place. And audio levels, of course, across all of those features can be a challenge. But it's interesting to know that it is tonal based and it's encoded. So if you can hear the tones, you can decode them. This basic screen shows the connectivity between the radio, your computer, sound card interface, the software application, and how it gets out to the internet through a UHF or VHF repeater. You'll notice up there you've got linked radios. So if you've got linking between repeaters on your mountain, that's where it comes from. You've got internet available through the controller on the repeater, which gives you the ability to send your message out to the internet as long as that packet repeater is up and functional. The Madison County ARES group has done extensive testing on moving messages around the internet and across the world, and you can find out very quickly that FL Digi UHF VHF messages can be sent very, very nicely with RC3 250 RC3 3 times, which is available in FL Digi. It's good data throughput with forward error correction, short transmit times, eliminates repeater timeouts because it is quick. If you need to work a little bit more difficult conditions, you might try MT63 2000 long interleaf mode. Works also well. It's not as fast, but it's less susceptible to audio level variations. Longer distances, or in the HF mode, it's advisable to increase your signal to noise ratio and accept longer transmission times to increase reliability. A PSK 125R or MT63 long, 1000 long work well. RMS Express uses Commons message servers with an internet, so AX25 encoding is used for the transceiver to the repeater. HF transceiver to gateways uses modified AX25 or PAC-TOR. So in closing here, FL Digi, FL Message, WinLink Express are great tools for sending items of supply needs or open transmission, much easier to read at the other end and much quicker than trying to verbally give a list. Easier to present. You've got some options with forms that show up on your browser. Gives you the option to print them, print your lists of material for your served agencies. It's reliable. It's easier than voice to transmit the traffic. Transmissions are susceptible to interception by listening public. However, you need to know that. And FL Digi should not be used for any private or HIPAA medical type data. This type of transmission should be transmitted via WinLink or Express email if needed. So if you'd like to join us on an HF net, you can do so with Alabama Digital Net, Digital Training Net on 3570, 80 meters, or 40 meters on 7110. Currently we're using 7110 at 3:30 every Sunday. Somebody should be on there running the FL Digi mode 30, PSK 31 and PSK 125R. Thank you all for listening. We'll talk with you again on another presentation.